Hey guys and gals, how we doing? It's me, Joe Salyers, back here for the Music Factory Studios. Today I want to show what you can do to make better voiceovers with background music and make it a lot easier on yourself. Now, in this small sample I've got here, it's just a voiceover for a local music store commercial. But back in the day when I worked in radio, as a teenager, when we would do voiceover, how we did it was we would play our background music and we would put our hand on the fader for the background music, and as we spoke, we would turn down the fader, and if we took a breath or paused for a moment, we would raise the volume of the music just to keep interest. Well, today, with modern computers and DAWs, we don't have to do that. We can do what's known as sidechain compression, and I know most guys who work in the audio industry will know what sidechain compression is. We use it on bass and drums all the time, and it's really handy for that, but it's really handy for voiceover, especially in something like this, like a voiceover for a commercial. So basically what happens is every time I speak, my background music track here gets turned down by 10 dB. The fader doesn't move, but the compressor is turning it down. It's running in the sidechain of bus 1, which is where all of my voiceovers, which are here, are going. So in a Logic channel strip, you've got your input here where you choose your inputs, and then your plugins, then your sends, and then your outputs for that channel. And all 4 outputs are going to bus 1 right here. So my voiceover is here on bus 1. It's here on bus 1.
At East Kentucky Music Traders, trade is in our name.
So the cool part about that is what happens is I don't have to go in and automate the background music for every second that I'm speaking. The compressor here can do that for me. So the compressor, if you push listen on the compressor's filter, here is what the actual compressor is hearing.
So bring in your trades when you come in to check out.
Sounds just like the voiceover. But if you listen to the voiceover and the background track together, this is what you get.
Out our new extended store. We've had to build on because of all the great customers we have here at East Kentucky Music Traders. So come in and see what's new. We can't show you everything in the video because some things are just a secret. East Kentucky Music Trade.
So you hear how as it gets turned up and turned down just by using the compressor. Now my compressor settings are pretty extreme in a way. What I'm doing is my threshold's at about -28. That's where I can get about 10 dB of gain reduction. My ratio's pretty low. It's at 2:1, no makeup gain. Okay, I am using a soft knee, as you can see here. I didn't use the hard knee, I used a soft knee. That way it would rise and fall just like it would if I used my hand on a fader. I don't want it to be abruptly pulled down. So my attack time is 4 milliseconds, which is rather quick, but my release time, which means it will let go and come back up, is about 620 milliseconds. So that's pretty good, and that works really well here. Okay, I'm using no makeup gain. Basically, I'm using a peak compressor, not an RMS compressor, and I'm sidechaining it to my voiceover. So here is kind of just a little taste of the commercial, and so you can get a feel of what went on here and how I used sidechain compression. I'll also open up the compressor here so you can see. The voiceover will be right here on aux 1. I'll go ahead and rename that to voiceover. That way you can look here and see it, and you can see what the compressor is actually doing. That's great about the Logic compressors. They do give you a lot of information. They may not be the most saturated and vintage sounding compressors, but man, they get the job done. So here, let's check out just a few seconds of this so you can see how I set up a voiceover for a commercial.
East Kentucky Music Traders Lockdown Liquidation Sale is happening now, and we're slashing all our prices. East Kentucky Music Traders is having the biggest summer lockdown blowout of all time. We have sales on Alvarez, Yari, Breedlove, Gill, AMI, amps from PV.
So as you can see, it does it in such a natural way, and it saves so much time. Trying to automate that would take hours, or at least a good hour, to get it right and get it sounding and feeling natural. Whereas with a sidechain compressor, you can do this really, really easily. Now, I did use some vocal effects and some different things, but that's kind of the radio TV kind of thing that you do. Basically, what I use is on my input, I'm using the console, and then out of the console, I'm hitting the Soundtoys little micro shift. I'm basically using a little bit of EQ. It looks extreme, but I'm using dB warp here, so if you pull up and down over here where the numbers are on the Logic EQ. I did a video on dB warp if you want to go see it just a couple days ago, and it is really interesting. Right here's all the EQ I'm actually doing. I use dB warp because it helps me to EQ better and more subtly. And I'm using a limiter just to bring up my voice a little bit, because coming out of the console, it's not that loud, or as loud as I would like it to be. I'm just pushing it up 4 dB. No big deal. And then on everything else is pretty much the same. Now, I did turn down the overall master bus because I didn't want my voiceover in this video to be way lower than the audio you're hearing coming out of Logic. But basically what I do on the master bus of these things is just a little bit, here, I'll pull it down, that much EQ. I'm cutting out the low end because that will eat up a lot of your volume level. And I'm making a cut at around 40 hertz. And then I use this little tool right here. It's a free limiter, multiband clipper, multiband limiter, RMS compressor, and it's a great little mastering plugin for things like this. Now, I wouldn't say I would master a record with it, but it's great for doing these types of things. Yeah, I'm not so sure about the GUI, but it's great. There is a newer version from Tokyo Dawn Labs called the TDR Limiter 6. I think the only sounds a little better. That's just me. So I use it over the new one. Okay. But sidechain compression, it's super simple, especially in Logic. Basically, all you got to do is go up here, choose the input you want to use on your sidechain, turn the sidechain on. You go up here to the top, hit the sidechain button, listen, set your low, high pass, whatever kind of filtering you want for it, turn it on, and it's done. And it makes VoiceOver so much easier for things like radio commercials, or if you have to do a voiceover for anything, whether that be social media, YouTube, or any of those things. And it's super simple, especially in Logic Pro. All right, guys and gals, I hope that helps somebody out. And we'll see you next time. Remember, subscribe below, thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. We'll see y'all next time.